Today I'm chatting with Brett Riddington, General Manager Cosmetics at David Jones. Hi Brett.
Good morning, Jackie.
What do you see as the sort of key standout trends that are happening right now?
There's probably a few of them. The first place to start from a customer viewpoint, I think, is that there are just more and more brands available, cosmetic brands available in more and more places. So for the customers, it's like a two-edged sword. For them, it's like all that choice compared to what they had 10 years ago. But it also presents possibly being more complex for them to have to actually get through and find what one they really want or is right for them. But there's more choice and brands in many more places than they were. That has forced us to look at our business in two ways. One, there's those big established players that started the cosmetics industry. So like the Estee Lauders and the Lancoms that have been in the business and been the anchors of our department for years. How do we keep them vibrant and growing together with what the brand's doing globally, and make sure we protect that growth, but then blending that with what's happening in the market, so that newness and what is coming. So if I look at skincare, the key trends there are that the specialists have become very strong. So if, brands are either specialising in derm, so that might be ultraceuticals, it might be Dermalogica, derm style, doctor brands, or the Clinique, which was of course was the first, or there's the organic. That's one of the biggest trends. Organic, natural brands. We're doing 5 times the business in body and soul department that we were a couple of years ago in organic. So, and I think the Australian customer too is particularly attuned to organic, not just in cosmetics, but food and everywhere else. So that's strong, and so keeping up with that. And then there's brands that are more from a pharmaceutical apothecary type of background. So if you look at Kiehl's or even Aesop, which is a little bit that way as well. So the specialists are really taking on the big established players in skincare, and the big established players is using all their great technology from the L'Oreal company or the Estee Lauder companies to keep pace and lead pace in technology. In makeup, the last few years have seen 2 major trends, and that is the makeup artist brands, so be it Napoleon Purtis, MAC, Bobbi Brown, and then also designer brands. So we've really seen some of the big designer brands like Giorgio Armani, Chanel, Dior, Yves Saint Laurent really take hold in the makeup market. And then other brands like OPI, which just does nails, but does lots of nails. We have an enormous business that we've developed exclusively with OPI. So they're really taking a segment, one product segment, and going after it. And we've taken, their range now, I think a couple of years ago was 100 different OPI nail polishes. Today we sell every one they make in the world, which is about 250, to give customers all that splash of choice and colour. And in fragrance, the trends are around perfumer brands, led by Jo Malone, which is one of our most popular and high-profile perfumer brands. And then the designer brands. The designer brands have really reinvented themselves in the last couple of years. Where if we go back 5 years ago, those designer brands, be it the Gucci and Dolce & Gabbana, were doing very less expensive in and out fragrances. But then they created new classics, and that's been quite the trend. So designer brands, we've just launched Balenciaga in the last couple of months. It's been one of the biggest launches we've ever done together with Coty. It's a very high price point. I won't say very high price point, but at a higher price point. Beautiful, hot brand, but it's done so well. Marc Jacobs, with what they've done originally with Daisy and recently with Lola, later last year, have gone gangbusters. And again, Gucci, Dolce & Gabbana have all come out with great new classics. So our customer certainly is looking for those well-known designers, great quality fragrances, and great packaging as well to go with it, a substantial bottle to go with it. And you almost know as soon as you see it. I remember last year when we were sitting with Coty and they presented Marc Jacobs Lola. We just took one look and went, all right, this is going to be a hit. How many are we getting? It's like, no, we're going to need double that. And we knew from the start. So I think we've been able to learn what's working in the fragrances. And then brands like Tom Ford. You know, some of the most exciting things we're seeing are coming out of the Tom Ford brand. He's been with fragrances. He launches a lipstick in August, which will be $65 lipstick, so right at the top of the range in prices, but fantastic. And a couple of very good fragrances launched this year already and coming next year. So that's the strong trends there. And I think for department stores, there's a couple of areas or a couple of segments of the cosmetic markets we've never been strong in that we could be and are starting to be. So if you take hair, for example, you know, most women don't go and buy their hair products in a department store. No. You know, they'll buy their skincare, makeup, fragrance, but hair's either done when you're at the hairdresser or it's in the supermarket as you go through. And we think there's enormous. It's like the next frontier with hair. And we recently started a relationship with partnership with Aveda, where we opened in Burke Street, not just selling the Aveda product, which is 75% hair, but also all the hair services, a full lifestyle salon with Aveda. And so we're looking to roll that concept as well. So we think hair is a great opportunity. And also then services. Again, there's a huge services industry in cosmetics that we need to take our share of, which again has been more in specialist players and salons. But if we think we've got, you know, you can have paid makeup lessons now with Napoleon Purtis or with MAC. We've got a brow service that we're starting with Shumura, which again is another segment that I might add to a little bit later on in terms of trends. With Dermalogica and through the partnership with Dermalogica, we've been able to add all these facial services that customers will pay for with, you know, one of the best brands that does it into the business. OPI and doing nail salons and nail spas with OPI are all a great opportunity, as well as the hair with Aveda. So we see those segments and trends as being important. And then, you know, I think in terms of, you know, our Asian population, and that's growing, we were particularly keen to bring Shumura into our portfolio, and for a couple of years had been speaking to the L'Oreal Group, who own that brand, and we launched that around about 2008 in August. It's now when we've rolled it out to 3-4 stores and rolling out to a few more. It adds another segment because it's such a strong brand in Asia, and the first day we opened it in Elizabeth Street, Sydney, you can see those customers coming in, but also for the customer who wants something edgy, they respect Japan as being such a centre of innovation in cosmetics. So that's added another specific segment to our business as well.
Wow. Do you think these days the customer comes into David Jones with more information than they used to?
Definitely. And brands and, well, firstly, you know, magazines for so long were the mainstay of them getting their knowledge. And of course, a lot of that has moved to the internet. So yes, if you see an ad or if someone tells you, a friend tells you about a product, you'll soon get on and do the research. And so yes, they do come in with lots of information, but it's the part of making the choice, is it? Because they've probably researched a number of products, but it's not often until they get into store and they see it and talk to someone and compare that they'll make their final choice. And I think for department stores, what's so crucial for us is not just product. We've got to go so far beyond what just the product is and the knowledge the customer comes in with. And that's why customer service, gift with purchases, events, all those type of other elements. In a department store, you can come into an environment for each of those major brands and really feel the brand and be totally involved and interactive with the brand. And those type of things are important that go beyond product. So what we've got to do is take all the knowledge and the awareness the customer has, and the brands have done a great job on their websites in terms of informing customers, creating a great information website, and add to that when they get into store.
So in that, the consultants play a significant role.
And when you look at and talk to the brands, the amount of resources they've put into their consultant training in the last few years has multiplied enormously. One, because it's great to create a point of difference for the product. Two, your credibility is at stake when your consultant is talking about the product. But if customers are coming in with more information, they're going to have less tolerance for a consultant that doesn't have that good a level of information as well. And brands have been very clever at not just doing face-to-face training, but being able to provide online resources for their consultants to learn at home, and be fully up to speed with everything that's happening.
Has there been a situation where you've thought that's going to be a success, but actually it was a spectacular failure?
Well, there's probably not so much spectacular failings, but you'd have to say that in cosmetics, it's probably half exceed where the brands or we thought, and half don't. And that's why you've got to have that flexibility in terms of how much you order and how much you put in your resources, so that if it does go a little better, you can buy more and invest more. And if it's not going so hot, you can pull back and manage it to its right potential. So very few of them disappoint in that they have to go straight away. So sometimes it might take a while to see how it goes, and then it drops out, or the brand will quickly realise that, and they'll come out with a new model or something new to take that up, or it'll be taken up by another brand.
We mentioned earlier about online research. Certainly questions about what's David Jones going to do in terms of their e-commerce strategy. Is that something you can share with us?
Well, we obviously realised that in terms of information, and not just product information, but marketing information, general awareness about David Jones and what we offer, as well as the future of online retailing, is something we need to be involved with. We've done a trial recently at Mother's Day with a few key Mother's Day type brands, which we learnt a lot from. So over the coming years, you'll see us really take those learnings and move into that with the right level of investment. We've still got a lot of opportunities with David Jones. We've got some fantastic new stores opening over the next few years that are going to be worth a lot to us. We've got the David Jones American Express card, and what we can work with that as a huge opportunity for us. So then adding online in the right level of investment is important, and in the right product categories, and of course cosmetics tends to be one of those that I think that our customers will be most interested in online.
Brett, it's been really interesting to talk to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure. Thank you,
Thanks.
Jackie.